You won't believe what happened the night a single dad, one of the busiest CEOs in the city, pulled over on a lonely road and found a bride chained inside a burning car. What happened next will shock you, break your heart, and inspire you forever. Michael Carter was the kind of man people envied. He was the CEO of a fast-growing tech company, dressed in tailored suits, commanding boardrooms with ease. Yet behind the polished image was a truth he rarely let anyone see. He was a single dad raising his 9-year-old daughter, Lily, alone. His wife had passed away years ago, and though Michael threw himself into his company, every night he returned home to be Lily's hero, not the CEO. That balance, running an empire while raising a child, was his greatest challenge. One late evening, after working late on a product launch, Michael was driving home through an empty road just outside the city. His phone buzzed with messages from investors, but his thoughts were on Lily, who had texted him earlier, "Daddy, will you read me a bedtime story? Don't be too late." He promised he'd be home soon. But fate had other plans. As he drove past a dark stretch of highway, he saw smoke rising in the distance. At first, he thought it was a small fire from farmland, but then he caught sight of flashing hazard lights. A car was on fire, flames licking its sides, smoke pouring into the sky. Michael slammed his brakes and pulled over. His instincts told him to call 911 immediately, but before he could even dial, he heard it: screams. Faint, muffled, desperate screams. He rushed closer, covering his mouth from the smoke, and what he saw stopped him cold: a young woman in a wedding dress, chained inside the car, pounding on the window with bleeding hands, her veil half-burnt, her eyes wide with terror. "Help me. Please. Don't let me die," she screamed. Michael's heart raced. The flames were spreading fast. He tried the doors, they were locked. The heat was unbearable, his skin stung just being near it. For a moment, panic threatened to take over. But then he thought of Lily. What if that was her one day? What if no one stopped to help? That thought gave him strength. He grabbed a rock from the roadside and smashed the rear window with all his strength. Glass shattered, and smoke poured out. The woman coughed violently. Michael climbed halfway inside, ignoring the searing heat, and realized why she couldn't escape. Her wrists and ankles were chained to the seat. Someone had deliberately trapped her there. Michael's mind spun. He had no tools. Every second counted. Flames were crawling toward the gas tank. He yanked at the chains, cutting his hands in the process, but they wouldn't budge. Then he noticed the car jack in the trunk compartment, partially melted but usable. With shaking hands, he pried at the metal cuffs, straining until finally one snapped. Then another. The bride collapsed into his arms, sobbing. "Please," she whispered, "don't let me die like this." He dragged her out just as the car erupted into a fireball behind them, the explosion shaking the ground. They collapsed on the roadside, coughing, covered in soot, but alive. Michael's body trembled, not just from the adrenaline but from the sheer horror of what he had just witnessed. The bride introduced herself as Emma. Between shaky breaths, she told him she had been on her way to her wedding when she was kidnapped by someone who clearly didn't want her to reach the altar. She had been drugged, chained, and abandoned in the burning car. The details were hazy, but her fear was real, and Michael knew one thing: whoever did this was dangerous. Over the following days, Michael couldn't get Emma's terrified face out of his mind. He visited her in the hospital, where she struggled with nightmares and panic attacks. He learned she had no close family. Her parents had died when she was young, and she had been raised in foster care. The wedding she was headed to had been arranged by her wealthy fiancé's family, but as the police investigation unfolded, shocking truths surfaced. Her fiancé's family had orchestrated the accident to cover up secrets they didn't want exposed. Emma had uncovered financial fraud, and silencing her was their solution. Michael found himself drawn into Emma's fight for justice. He hired the best lawyers through his company's resources, shielded her from the media, and even invited her to stay in his guest house so she could feel safe. At first, it was meant to be temporary, but soon Emma and Lily grew close. Lily adored Emma, calling her princess because of the wedding dress story. For the first time since his wife's death, Michael's home was filled with laughter again, but the challenges were far from over. The people who tried to kill Emma didn't stop. Michael's company came under sudden attack, false allegations, market sabotage, even threats against his daughter. It became clear this wasn't just Emma's battle anymore. They wanted to break him too. Michael had to fight on two fronts: protect his daughter and Emma from ruthless enemies, while also holding his company together. There were moments he felt crushed under the weight, nights where he sat in silence, staring at Lily asleep, wondering if he was strong enough. But Emma reminded him of something powerful. "You saved me from that fire, Michael. Don't you see? You're stronger than you think." In the end, through resilience, legal battles, and courage, the truth was exposed. The corrupt family was arrested, Emma was freed from her past, and Michael's company not only survived but thrived. But the greatest victory was personal. In saving Emma, Michael had rediscovered a part of himself he thought had died with his wife, the part capable of loving again. Months later, at a quiet park, Lily tugged on Michael's sleeve and whispered, "Daddy, when are you going to marry Emma?" Michael laughed, but deep down he knew Lily was right. Emma wasn't just someone he had rescued, she had rescued him too, and so, from the flames of tragedy, a new family was born. And the story ends with Michael looking straight into the camera, saying, "Sometimes, life throws us into the fire to remind us what we're capable of. I thought I was saving Emma that night, but in truth, she saved me." Don't ever give up, your second chance might be just around the corner.